Did you know ASBN, America's Small Business Network, is now available on your TV? That's right. ASBN is now streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire Stick, and available for download in the App Store. Scan the QR code to download the ASBN app today. Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for watching another edition of The Small Business Show, exclusively right here at ASBN.com, and now streaming on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. On today's show, we're exploring a new innovative law firm model. Joining us now is the founder and chief visionary of InPrime Legal, Jonathan Page. Jonathan founded InPrime Legal, which uses a subscription model instead of the traditional billing by the hour law firm that we all know and love. He's also big on helping CEOs and business owners on how to scale and sustain profitability in their business. Jonathan, thanks so much for joining us on the show today.
Thanks, Jim. I really appreciate being here.
Sure. So you got an incredible company, InPrime Legal. Tell us the difference between InPrime Legal and the traditional setup with a business attorney.
So every business runs on metrics. Mm-hmm. We have leading metrics, we have lagging metrics,
sure,
right? And you put metrics in place because they drive behavior. You decide to commission a salesperson because you know the commissions is going to cause their behavior to change.
That's
and
right.
Hopefully do something that you want.
Sure.
Lawyers are the same way. So if you tell an associate you've got to bill 2,000 hours a year, and all your metrics are around how much time are we billing,
right?
How much are we collecting on that time?
Yeah.
Then that's going to drive behavior.
That's right.
And so if something could be done quicker, more efficiently with the same quality for the client, and it doesn't fit that model, what are they going to do with that innovation?
That's right. They're going to hide it.
Exactly, because it doesn't fit the model. They
Yeah.
need their attorneys billing 8 hours a day.
Sure.
They need them billing 150 hours a month.
Right.
They need to make sure that they're hitting those goals. And it's just because they've got a legacy business model that's going to drive legacy behavior that hasn't caught up to where the market is today.
Sure.
So when I opened my own firm, I decided that we would try to leverage technology, innovation, so that we could deliver really high quality services at the level that you would get at a top 100 firm, but do it in a way that's more affordable, more accessible, faster.
Okay.
And so that was kind of initially what caused us to go down this road.
And that's InPrime Legal today. That's what you're doing right now.
That's InPrime Legal today.
So if somebody's listening, for entrepreneurs that are listening right now, and they'll say, I'm right on the cusp of opening up a business, is that the person that you want to speak to so that you can help them develop and make sure they've got the right entities, the right copyright infringe or copyright things on logos and designs and ideas and everything else? Or
Absolutely. So if you're a fan of Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich,
Right.
Napoleon Hill always said lead with value.
Yeah.
Right. And if you provide enough value, then eventually you'll get paid.
That's right.
So that's what we do. If there's somebody we can help, we're going to help them. Can they afford us? Not always.
Okay.
And so oftentimes we'll just provide the help for free because we hope we can be of service. Maybe they can take that service and then hopefully scale and then one day come back to us.
Okay.
But oftentimes they are in a place that they can afford us and need to invest in us. What we have found is a lot of small business owners gamble with risk. Risk is inevitable. You're going to have to take risk in order to scale your company, to achieve your dreams, to get to whatever your goal is.
That's right.
But whether you gamble with it or you're proactive about mitigating that risk is the question.
Okay.
And so you'll have a lot of business owners that'll come to us after their 50 million in revenue. They've got a business partner that isn't working out, that they realized, over a period of time that this business partner isn't the person they need to be in business with in order to get to that next level.
Right.
But they have a really bad operating agreement. Well, because they didn't put something in place proactively and think through those risks, because they weren't willing to invest in a good attorney that was going to help them through that. Were they able to scale to 50 million?
That's
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
But now they're dealing with almost a catastrophic threat if they can't get this business partner out.
That's
they can't free up the equity, right?
And they're not on the same page, and maybe they're fighting. We hear so much of that all the time. I mean, it almost seems like partners often grow apart rather than together, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to try and do, is build a strong legal foundation. It takes an investment, right? And the legal foundation is going to be in your company structure. Do you have subsidiaries? Do you have a holding company? Does it make sense to do those sort of things? Are you trying to isolate certain liabilities from one operating unit and the other? That's all company structure. Your contracts. We'll have somebody that we're helping get through pre-exit planning, and then ultimately they want to exit their business.
Right.
So these are things that we're helping them with, protecting themselves in the marketplace. Intellectual property is all about that.
Oh, I know. And these are often overlooked by entrepreneurs. I know that I overlooked them when I started out in business many, many years ago, where you just go, oh, I'll build my widget or develop my service. I'll run out there, and when the time comes and I've got enough money to really worry about these things, then I'll go ahead and put the foundation in place. It's too late by then, right? I've already started to build the house, and it's built on sand in many cases rather than a strong foundation, right?
That's right. Yeah. You want to try to do that proactively.
Yeah.
And, a lot of sales books and marketing books, if you read those books, I'm an avid reader.
Yeah.
They'll say, target your target customer, focus on what keeps them up at night.
Yeah.
And the truth is that their operating agreement doesn't keep them up at night.
That's
their
right.
employment agreements don't keep them up
That's
at night.
not this fun, sexy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're not thinking, that's something I need to invest in. So one of our jobs is to try to help them see why that's important and how that they can get a return on investment by investing in a legal strategist that's going to help them build that strong legal foundation.
So the difference between what many people think in terms of having an attorney that you might have on a retainer basis, where you pay a few grand a month or maybe a lot more depending on the size of the company, but to get started, maybe a few $1,000s a month that you're paying to your attorney, and then they take the billable hours and then deduct it from that amount that you're paying, and either they cut you a check, or they don't cut you a check, but they'll send you a bill to say, hey, we went over, this is how much you owe us, or what have you. Yours is obviously different. Walk us through that.
Yeah, so it's a flat monthly fee, but ultimately it's based on utilization. So we always tell people, if you're at 100% utilization, then you're paying us the blended rate for every attorney hour and the blended rate for every paralegal hour. You're not paying for what we call program hours. Those are hours that we spend to implement the program that you're in. And you're getting a lot of other benefits with that as well. If you're at 120% utilization, it means you're getting more than what you're paying for. And if you're 80% utilization, you're getting less. So we have this utilization score that they can see on a nearly real-time basis. They have access to a portal. And not only can they see what the utilization is, they can drill down into it if they want to. Our clients hardly ever do because they build a lot of trust with us. But it's there for them to look at. And if they go between 80 and 120% utilization, we don't change the fee. If they have an anomaly one month because there was a big issue, we don't change the fee. If there happens to be a really slow month, and it's really low utilization that month, but we all know it's going to track back up because they've got a lot of projects in the pipeline, we don't change the fee. But if it's going to be tracking up, the trend is that it's going to be 200% utilization moving forward, or it's going to be really low. We have a proactive conversation with them. We come up with a solution. We either need to adjust the fee or reprioritize work. They're part of that decision-making process. So it gives them a lot more control over their legal spend.
So they might look at it and say, I'm really focused on this contract right now. We really got to win this client, or whatever the case might be. Or maybe I'm buying a building, or I'm expanding my business. Let's focus on this rather than some of the long-term stuff that we have to address with employment people, or people that are employed by us, or what have you, that might be able to wait a little while, right?
Exactly. And we're using software to be able to track all of that. We have what's called a priority report that they have access to. If you're at a traditional law firm, they don't really have a project management system. It's just the attorneys kind of keeping a list on a notebook. There's not really a really good project management system in place. We've mastered that. So they can see, what we're working on today. They can see what we're working on next month. They can see what we've saved for Q4. All the notes are there. It's all part of conversations we've had with them. We have regular huddles or touch-in calls where we're discussing these projects with them. So everything is transparent. They know exactly what's going on with what we're doing. And then they can see how much how much time we're spending, what the utilization is. It allows them to have more control and sort of make sure that we're doing the things that are going to support their vision.
And this is perfect for a small to medium-sized business, because they can put a dollar number on it every month and say, we're covered with a great law firm, and this we know this is what it's going to be, rather than these huge bills every month, right? And surprises.
They can focus on getting results as opposed to focusing on how much time is being spent. And that's where we want to give them results. When you invest money, there needs to be a result at the end of that. And too much of the time, you hire a law firm and they send you a big fancy memo that you don't understand. And they've spent 40 hours doing it at $1,000 an hour. I mean, it's expensive.
That's exactly right. Yeah, for sure. So talk to us about where InPrime Legal is in, let's say, the next 5 years.
So we're developing a new software called Leo.
Okay.
It's Legal Intelligence Optimized.
Okay.
It will be partly based on AI.
Mhm.
That's just a base level now if
Sure.
any new business is getting into business.
Of
But
course.
ultimately, it's there to support our existing clients and any new clients that we get.
Okay.
We want to try to optimize and make legal more accessible and more efficient. It's always
Okay.
been our mission.
Mm-hmm.
And so by developing the software, everything will be delivered through the platform. We're
Mhm.
not going to go away, but the attorneys can focus on where they provide the most value.
Okay.
You're not thinking about an attorney when
Mhm.
the attorney's spending 20 hours on your contract.
Right.
You just aren't.
Right.
You are thinking about the attorney when the attorney's on the phone with you, strategizing with you,
That's
helping
right.
you understand your contract, maybe coming up with some unique provisions
Yeah.
that deal with a particular risk
Mm-hmm.
that's unique to your business.
Mhm.
That's where the value is,
Mm-hmm.
but you're paying often for the 20 hours that they're drafting.
Yeah.
So if we can have a platform that does most of the drafting for us,
Wow. Yeah.
that does
That's
the things
huge.
that aren't valuable to you,
Right.
so we can put more of our attention on what is valuable to you,
Right.
then we've got really a winning recipe. So
Yeah.
that's the evolution of InPrime. It's going to be
Yeah.
Leo, Legal Intelligence Optimized, into the future.
Oh,
We have
that's
a
great.
minimal viable product that
Yeah.
we'll be coming out with next year,
Yeah.
and we'll start testing it on our clients.
That's great. You're kind of one of those, you're offering one of those services that every entrepreneur says, God, I wish I had that friend in the business that could tell me the real deal here. You're kind of pulling the, the curtain on the traditional law firms and the traditional relationships that entrepreneurs have with law firms, right? To say, hey, here's the real deal. We can save you a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And there's many companies that have tried it. LegalZoom's one of them,
Mhm.
right? But it's not quality.
Yeah,
The access to attorneys isn't great.
right. Right.
But to their benefit, you get things quickly,
Yeah.
right? Even if it's not high quality and it's not customized to your business.
Sure.
So it's
But if
how
you want to
can-
open up a quick LLC or something like that, then you can go to LegalZoom and do it. But you don't always get the advice that in the back of your mind you really feel like you need it, right?
So imagine having a top 100 firm
Yeah,
access to that kind of advice,
yeah,
but through a platform like LegalZoom,
yeah.
where it's very
Right.
tailored to you, and you can still continue to develop with a relationship with a real person that you trust.
Right, right.
But a lot of the other stuff is being handled through the platform
Mhm.
with the supervision of the attorney,
Sure.
making sure that it's still done right and at a really high quality.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I had an attorney friend that would say to me, you can call me now or you can call me later, but
Yeah.
you're going to be calling me. If you call me later, it's going to be a lot more of an expensive call than if we take care of these things up front, right?
Right.
And that's so true with entrepreneurs. For people that are listening to us have this discussion, many of you might have already made the mistake and kind of said, I'm going to run out there, I'm going to jump in business, I'm going to open up bank accounts, get clients, get employees, and go, oh yeah, there are some things that I do have to make sure I'm doing right legally. And then you go back and backtrack to his point. He says, hey, we don't judge you, we don't judge anybody. Just come in and we'll get the situation fixed. So I recommend we'll show all the information on the screen here to get a hold of Jonathan if this sounds like something that fits right with what your needs are right now. So Jonathan Page, founder and chief visionary in InPrime Legal. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. We very much appreciate it. So hopefully we can have you back, because I'd love to throw a bunch of questions at you from entrepreneurs that send us in some questions to say, ask this attorney this. We're thinking about opening up a business. So thank you.
Would love to be back. Thank you.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.